Hey class, Miss Thomas here. Last week, before we went on break, we were talking about Earth's forces and the forces that hold us here on the Earth's surface. We don't go falling off into space. Do you remember what that was called? It's called gravity. Remember when you throw anything up, gravity says it's always got to fall back down. Okay, so we were talking a little bit about force, like gravity. We were also talking about force like pushing and pulling, and you did so good coming up with so many beautiful examples of the ways that we move things by pushing, pulling, and that idea of force and motion. So this week, we're going to be talking about something slightly different, and we're going to talk about up in the sky. What can we see up in the sky? Alrighty, I wonder if you have anything coming into your mind already. When I say the sky, what are a couple of the first things that you think of? I might think of clouds or the sunshine. I want you to close your eyes for a minute. I want you just to close your eyes and think of the sky. Is it day or is it nighttime? Pick one of those and kind of think about it in your brain. Create a picture in your mind. Keep your eyes closed. Is it day or night? If it's day, what do you see? Do you see the sunshine and big fluffy white clouds? Is it a day where it's just a bright blue sky and the sun maybe had just tucked behind one cloud, so got a little darker? What if it's night? So have your eyes closed. Now picture the night sky. Dark. Are there clouds up there? Or is it a clear night where you can see all the stars twinkling? Maybe the moon is so full that it kind of looks like a light, like a night light up in the sky. So we're going to be talking about that. What can we see up there in the sky? That's our essential question. What can we see up in the sky? Maybe you see a rainbow, the moon, the clouds, the stars. There's so many beautiful things up there in the sky. Some of our vocabulary words are going to be fun ones to use this week. Things like adventure, delighted means you're so happy. Dreamed, we can dream about things, and when we're dreaming, it's normally nighttime. There's stars up in the sky. Grumbled is a fun word. Moonlight, neighbor, our neighbors, or nighttime. These are all great vocabulary words that we'll be using this week, and we're going to hear them in our story as well. We're going to read a story today, okay? And I want you to be thinking about that essential question. What can we see up in the sky? Alrighty, and this week as we read our stories, our skill that we're focusing on is the structure of the story. So we're going to start back, and remember at the beginning of the year how we talked about the beginning, the middle, and the end of stories that we read. And it helps us process and it helps us understand what the characters go through and what maybe the story is trying to teach us as we go along. So we're going to be thinking about that structure of a story, and we're going to dive in gently, and then we're going to get deeper and deeper and practicing finding the structure to these stories as we go this week. All right, so listen as I read. I'm going to read part of this story to you, and then you're going to read the last couple pages on your own. And we're going to create a thinking map. We're going to create a flow map today, okay, together, and we're going to pick out some of the things that happen at the beginning of the story, then what happens next, and what happens next, and how those components work together to tell a beautiful story. All right, so listen up. Remember, our essential question is, what can we see in the sky? This story is called Starry Night. I'm going to show you the picture. Just take a look at that and make a guess, make a prediction what you think this story is going to be about, just based on the clue of the title. It's called Starry Night. What do you think we're going to talk a little bit about or learn a little bit about as we read? Put that prediction up in your brain and let's see if we can find the answer. Okay, you ready? Listen up. Starry Night. This is a fiction story. Josie and Ling were good friends. Ling was happy Josie was her neighbor. Josie was happy Ling lived nearby too. They're friends, they're neighbors, they live close by to each other. Josie and Ling couldn't wait for the school day to end. They planned a sleepover at Josie's house. They were going to sleep in a tent in Josie's backyard. Have you ever done that? Have you ever slept out in a tent and stayed outside throughout the night and slept out there and hear the cicadas chirping in the trees and looked up at the stars? Maybe had a campfire? As the class was leaving, Mr. Cortez said, "Your weekend homework is to look at the nighttime sky and explain what you see on Monday." That sounds like a fun assignment. The class grumbled. That means they go, "Ugh, we don't want to do that." "Why the unhappy sounds?" Mr. Cortez asks. "It will be fun looking at the night sky." The girls were excited. They arrived at Josie's house and they were delighted. They were so happy to be sleeping outdoors. Josie said, "I'm so happy that we get to sleep in a tent. It'll be lots of fun." Then Ling said, "I'll get the sleeping bags and the flashlights." "I brought flashlights so we can play games in the tent." Josie's dad poked his head inside the tent. "Girls, it's time to get to do your homework because now it's getting dark," he said. "Aw," they both complained. "Dad," she said, "do we have to now?" "Yes, I already set up the telescope." Let me show you a picture. See them getting ready for the evening and Dad's setting up that telescope. What's a telescope? What do we use that for? I wonder if they're going to use it to look up at the sky and look up and find the stars. I'm going to read one more page to you, okay? Ling said, "I hope this won't take too long." Josie looking up at the spotted crescent moon, like little C-shape crescent moon. "Did you know that the moon's light comes from the sun?" said Josie. "Did you know that?" "It's funny that it's called moonlight because the light actually comes from the sun." "Yes," said Ling, who was still thinking about just playing in the tent. Josie's dad smiled at the girls and he said, "You see the stars in the sky? Those points of the bright light can form shapes in the sky. You can see the Big Dipper," he said. "It's a group of stars that look like a giant spoon." Have you ever seen the Big Dipper up in the sky? It's a picture of it. You can spot the constellations up in the sky. So I'm going to pause there. You're going to read the rest of this story on your own. Make a prediction. What do you think the girls are going to see up in the sky? Do you think they're going to take turns looking in the telescope? Do you think they're going to say, "No, we don't want to do that," and just go to bed? What do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to see maybe? All right, you're going to read the rest. Going back to the beginning, what is something that happened first in this story? We see them where? Where are they at the beginning of the story? They are in a classroom and they get an assignment, don't they? What does their teacher tell them to do over the weekend for their homework? You can say it. They have an assignment to look up at the night sky. Let's write that that's what happens first in our story. So they get an assignment to look up at the night sky. That happens first. Then what happens after that? Okay, so you're going to tell me what comes next in the story, and then what happens after that. And then what happens at the end? You're going to have to read and find out what happens at the end of the story. And I want you to fill in what comes next and make your flowchart onto what continues to happen first, then, next, and last. Alrighty, I look forward to reading your responses and looking at your chart. And then scroll down and you're going to see a prompt to write in your journal as well. Alrighty, I look so forward to reading what you have to say. I hope you enjoy the story as much as I did. Let me know if you have any questions, all right? I'll talk to you soon. Bye.